Hey everyone, this is Debbie from Project 39 Mini Albums. Today I'm a guest designer for Scrapping for Less, and I was given this Red Christmas paper pad to see what I could do about making a mini album. It's got some really gorgeous Christmas elements, and the colors are rich, and the paper is luxurious. I loved using the paper. So let me show you what I made with it. And of course, I made a mini album. Now this mini album is 5 by 7 and it is made to hold your 4 by 6 photos. So let me take you inside and show you what it's all about. So the front cover has some glitter paper. Actually, I didn't have any red to match with the red, believe it or not. I didn't have red. So I used some glitter embossing powder on the edge of a paper, and it made this nice shimmery, but the glitter doesn't fall off, which I always love, paper, which matched very nicely with this, the paper that has the snowflakes on it. I did have a little white border that I backed that paper on. This was in the die cuts kit, the Let It Snow and the bear. I colored in the elements on the bear and added a dimensional poinsettia that was in my stash. And then I cut a little tab out of one of the paper scraps along with the banners on the top. And it just makes a nice presentation. Again, I said the mini album is 5 by 7. It's got quite a large spine. It's a 3-inch spine, but it holds a lot of photos. So inside, and then here's the spine and there's the back. So inside, on the front cover, it has this beautiful striped red and green paper, and again I used the embossed red to go on the outside with a little white border, and this I just taped onto the paper so it's got a nice little tuck spot. And I just put a photo mat or journaling card to go in that pocket. Now you could put photos in that pocket as well. And don't forget, when you get a mini album, if you don't like where this photo mat is or journaling card, you can put it anywhere else. You can rearrange it the way you want. Now the whole construction of the book is very simple. It doesn't have a binding system per se. We just use score tape and put this one page down with the score tape, and it'll hold really nicely. When I made the mini album, I decided let's start simple. So this page just is the page. No flaps, no folds, no pockets. So if you just wanted to make a mini album this way, super, super simple. All you're going to do is cover the chipboard, cut out the cardstock, and adhere it on. And by the way, I will have the tutorial at the end of this walkthrough video. So anyhow, so that's page 1. Love the candy canes. And again, that color is rich and gorgeous, and the paper is wonderful. Now this page actually measures 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. So if you had a 4 by 6 photo, you could put it on, but you're going to cover the paper. I would trim down your 4 by 6 photos or use your Instax photos for a mini album of this size. Or it gives you a lot of room to journal. Okay, so this is the back of page 1. Now page 2 has just a simple flap, and I did use a magnet. You can get magnets from Basic Gray is the name of the company. So this gives you a nice 3-page spread to put a good collection of photos. Maybe you want a picture of your house after you've decorated it. So that would be a nice place to put it. So again, page 1 is super simple. I didn't do anything to. Page 2 just has a flap. The backs of the pages have pockets, and the size of the pockets coincides with the scrap paper you're going to have left over when you cut your 4 by 6 paper. So this is about a 2-inch piece, and the 4 inches is going to be here. So 6 inches, 6-inch piece, you'd have 4 plus 2. So I made the pocket so you utilize that paper and it didn't go to waste. So this pocket has just a simple photo mat. I did fussy cut some of those ornaments to put on here. So as you see, you can tuck a photo underneath that. And or journal on it. That would make a nice backdrop for journaling. And again, you could put photos just in the pockets without putting them on a photo mat. And that was in the die cut kit. So now this one has a flap that opens up and it's got a pocket. And I just took one of the scraps of paper and cut it and put it on the front of that pocket. So that goes in nicely. There were a few cases that I used just plain cardstock inside pockets, just to help it so it wouldn't look so busy. All right, so that goes like that. So page 1 is simple. Page 2 has a flap. Page 3 has a flap and a pocket. You see, they're getting a little more intense, but still nothing you can't do. So page 4, this is the back of page 3, just again another pocket. Page 4, first of all, I've got this polka dot paper on the tan background, and this was a die cut image that I just adhered on 3 sides, and we've got the tuck spot there. So this is held down with a magnet. So this comes up and this comes over, and there's a pocket here. I don't think in the instructions I showed making the pocket, but I showed making these pockets, so you just add a pocket here. So again, that's a nice spread. You can get a bunch of photos, you know, maybe opening gifts or the family at dinner, and then put a small photo in here, or just use the pockets to stick photos in. So again, that is a magnetic clasp. All right, this is the back of page 4, and that again has the pocket. And I've got a couple of photo mats. I actually had washi tape that was like that sort of matched with the theme. And there's the back of that, and that fits nicely inside that pocket. And this was one of the cut aparts. And so on page 5, I made this, I call it a window page because it opens like a window. To close the page, I used these library style closures, and this is a brad that I had in my stash. It was obviously a star brad that was red. If I had had red scrap paper and white snowflakes, that would be even better. But I did not have that in my stash. And I used elastic, which I usually don't, but I had a scrap of elastic that matched. And this is a metal charm. I think it was Tim Holtz from many moons ago. I don't know where you can see it there. That I just took an alcohol marker and painted red. It was just that bright silver. So it opens like this. Whoops, there's a scrap of the red. And again, it makes a nice area to put the photos. So you can put a large photo here, or a small photo here, and then just, you can journal on this side, just write it on a plain piece of paper, either white with red writing maybe, or red with a white gel pen. Either way, that would look fabulous. And again, this just closes around like that. I did not, in the example, I did not finish, did not have the charm, but later on I found the charm and I thought that added a nice touch. This is just alcohol markered one of the elements from the die cut kit. And then the last page has another pocket, and I just cut some tags out of the scraps left. Again, I did have this green in my stash, and I put another of the poinsettias from my stash, just added a couple of berries with my alcohol marker on there. I don't know if you can see that, and then again, that's a little tuck spot. So you can add a little photo. You could put a photo on that whole page and that would look fabulous. Right on here with a white gel pen if you have one. And then there's another little tag. So if you stay tuned, I will show you the construction of the book. And again, keep in mind, you can make this so simple. I mean, the pages are just, this is a page. And you're just going to adhere it down like that. Simple. Simple. Then I'd like to see if you make one. Go ahead and share it on the Scrapping for Less Facebook group and show us what you made. It's really simple to make, and if you haven't ever made a mini album and you wanted to make one, this is a good place to start. and then you can go from there. You know, if you decide that you like the process, then there's a lot more that you can make. And if you get any of the Scrapping for Less paper collections, they would do fabulous. This was made specifically for a 6x6 paper pad. And even if you don't have the die cuts, as you can see, you can fussy cut some of the elements in the kit, or even maybe use a die cut that you have, stockings or deer or whatever, trees. You could even hand cut trees and it would look fabulous. So here's the tutorial. I thank you very much for your time, and I'll see you at the end. All right, we're going to start assembling the cover of the book. For this you'll need, and this is in the Scrapping for Less blog, 2 pieces of 7x11 65-pound weight cardstock. I'm using black for all of the album. And 1 piece 4 7/8 by 6 of black cardstock. You'll also need 2 sheets of medium weight chipboard at 5x7 and 1 at 5x3. So what we're going to do first is take the 7x11 pieces of cardstock, and I put a piece of score tape. You also could use red line tape that is in the Scrapping for Less store. That would work just as well. So I just take 1 piece, put it on the side, so I have a long piece that's 7 inches tall. And then I'm going to take these 2 pieces. I'm sorry, we're going to start with the smaller piece. And you could cover the whole thing with the red line tape or score tape or wherever you have. I covered the perimeter with the score tape, and I'm going to cover the interior with some ATG. And just to make sure it's going to stay on, I'm also going to use some art glitter glue, which is also for sale in the shop. And I'll take off these. I did put on the tape, and I burnished it really well before I'm going to take off the adhesive. It's very important to burnish it well. Number 1, it makes it easier to take off the backing, and number 2, you don't want any air pockets in there. Over time, those air pockets could pull up. And then I'm going to put this in the center of the paper, so about 1 inch on the top, inch on the bottom. And that's good to go. Now I'm going to take 1/4 inch tape, the double-sided tape, the red line tape. If you can get it in 1/4 inch, that would be great. And I use this just sort of as a place blocker. You don't want to come too close, and I'm burnishing. You don't want to come too close to the chipboard when you're putting down the other 2 pieces of the chipboard. All right, I'm going to take off the backing. So I've got the score tape on the outside, or the red line tape. I've got ATG. And now I'm going to just add some of the art glitter glue in the center. This way there's not going to be any bubbling. It's not going to come up. It's going to be well adhered. Okay, so you see where the other piece of tape is. I'm going to butt this up right next to where that tape is. Maybe even going slightly on top of it. And I'll do the same with the next piece. If I can get the backing off. So again, I was using 65-pound cardstock. You could use different cardstock. I wouldn't use anything too heavy on this part, but when we get to the pages of the book, 100 or 110-pound cardstock is preferred. If you don't have it, then use what you have, but if you have the heavier, use that. All right, and that's going to go right there. And then I'm going to turn this over and varnish real well. And then I'm going to take my bone folder and just figure out where the edge of the chipboard is. And just crease the paper a little bit. All around the four corners. That way it'll show you where chipboard is when we go to the next step. Okay, now next step is easy. We're going to cut off the excess. You're going to go to about 1/4 of an inch from where the edge of the chipboard is. And just cut straight across. I'm going to use my large scissors for this just because it gets a nice, crisp, clean cut. You could use whatever scissors you have. You could use a craft knife if you wanted to. Okay. As you notice, they're not perfect. They're not perfect right angles, but they will do the trick. Okay, I'm going to turn this over, and then I'm going to put some tape around the 4 straight edges of the cardstock. So I'll put some here as well. And burnish. Okay, now I'm going to take off the 2 longer pieces, and I'm going to go ahead and take my glue, let me get it in camera, and just go along the edge, the diagonal edge, and fill in between the chipboard and the tape. And then just gently fold it over. It should fold easily because we've already made the crease in it. I start in the center to push it down. And then go from there. And then the same for here. So I've already pulled off the backing of the tape. And I'm going to fill in that diagonal with the glue. And you can use any strong adhesive, whatever you prefer. I like using the combination of the tape and the glue. My feeling is where one may not hold, the other one will. So if you're in different environments, you put it together in a humid world and you go somewhere that's not so humid, it's a drier climate. One might hold in one area, the other might hold in the other. Okay. Now I know we've got glue there, but we're still going to take our bone folder and push down on that corner. This one I'm going to sort of push up. Take off my backing. Fill in this area. And pull this in. Sometimes I'll put my bone folder down and just push real hard on it. So again, take off my tape backing. Push down with the bone folder. Push up with the bone folder. Pull it in. And there we go. Now I'm going to take a blunt tip of the bone folder and gently crease down where this channel is to try to make the paper and the adhesive meet. Go gently. You might have to take a couple of times and then bend it, and that will adhere. If you have this 1/4 inch gap, then you're never going to get a crack in the spine. So I always use that 1/4 inch tape just to make sure I know where it is. Okay, now I'm going to take the 4 7/8 by 6 inch piece. And so on the back, I had this longer, I think it's a 2 inch, yeah, piece of score tape. I want to make sure it's adhered real well to the center because that's where we're going to put the rest of the pages. And of course, I don't have any on the edges, but I'll probably use glue. So I'm going to start with the center piece, and I'm going to just gently eyeball it and put it down. And burnish. And now I have not pulled off the backing of the tape here. I'll do one first on each side about where the channel is. And gently I'll take my bone folder and push that down. And if you have to bend the book just to help yourself go. There we go. If you have a bone folder that's a little thicker, this one is probably 3/8 of an inch thick. It will help you to adhere it down into that channel. Now I'm going to take off the remaining 2 pieces of the backing of the tape. And I'm going to add some glue to the edge. Oops. That was a little messier than I wanted it to be, but we're going to cover it all, so it's not a big deal. Okay, so there is the cover of the book. If you'd like, take your bone folder and go over the edge just to make a nice, crisp, clean edge to your book. Okay, now we're going to get to work on the pages. Okay, now to make the pages, this is pretty simple. You're going to take 5 pieces, or however many pages you're going to have in this one. I'll have 5. Of this is the heavy cardstock. This is 100 pound or 110 pound. Cut it to 6 3/4 by 4 1/4 and score on the short side 1/2 inch. So I have my scoreboard, and I'm using a metal stylus. So you can use one like this. I have this one, and I'm just going to score it at 1/2 inch on all 5 pieces. All right, see, that was simple, and that was all you needed for the pages. Then I'm going to take 1/2 inch of in this case, score tape. You can use the red line tape if you want, and put it edge to edge. I didn't go far enough there, but I'm going to use a craft knife to cut it just to make sure it's lined up the way it needs to be. You're going to center it in this area because that area is 1/2 inch. So you're going to have a little bit of room on both sides. So just try to center it as best you can. Okay, and when you're done with that, take your bone folder, burnish it real well, and fold it so the score tape is on the outside as well. Okay, now that we've done that, now in some instances you will trim the corners. I don't want you to trim the corners right here. Okay, so we're going to take our first piece. I've peeled off the adhesive backing. I'm going to center it top to bottom. It's going to be right centered, and go about 1/4 inch from the spine. If you're not sure, you can draw a pencil line in the center, but don't draw it top to bottom or it's going to be difficult to erase. And then take the next one, and I peeled off the adhesive, and I'm going to line that up right next to that one. We're going to burnish in a second, but I'm going to get all the pieces down first. And again, just line it up right next to that, so it's going to be right at the edge of the previous piece. And continue with the other 4 pieces until they're all done. So this gives you a good, just about 1/2 inch between each piece. Now we're going to do some decorating and some folding, but it allows you to do a lot of decorating and have dimensional items, flowers, or whatever you want. All right, now gently I'm going to take my bone folder. Just gently take your bone folder and make sure that these pieces are adhered real well. These are the pages, so it's pretty important right now to make sure they're down. And there you go. There you've got a book with 5 pages. Okay, now the way the book is set up is I'm going from easiest to a little more difficult in the book. The first page is just a simple page. There's no flaps, no pockets, no folds. So all you have to do is put the paper, you'll cut it down to 4 by 6 and put that on the page, both front and back. Page number 2 is going to have a fold. And you're going to cut a piece of cardstock, and you can use either the 65 pound or the 100 or 110 pound. 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. You're going to score 1/2 inch on the short side. I'll go ahead and do that. So we're going to score it 1/2 inch. And then the same as we did before, we're going to adhere the tape end to end, but I'm being a little messier. And in this instance, you're going to take scissors and you're going to trim it down. So just cut off, it doesn't have to be an exact right angle, but just cut off a little bit. And also on my book, just so I want to make sure you know that this has a fold to it, or this is a flap, I did trim the edges. So I'm just using a simple corner rounder. You can use whatever you have. If you have to design, you can use a design. But I just rounded the corners, and of course when you're going to put the paper down, you're going to need to round the corners of the paper too. So there is that. And you just line it up, the very edge of the paper, make sure it's straight, and put it down. So that's page 2. So I'm going to put a magnet under the paper when I put this together, put the paper in it. You could use a swing tab or not. But that's this page. Oops. Okay, now on to page 3. Page 3 has a flap coming up and a pocket on the bottom. All right, to make the pocket and the flap, we need 2 pieces of paper. I'm using 65 pound. The pocket will be 7 1/4 by 2 1/2, and the flap 6 1/4 by 4 1/2. Let's do this one first. I'm going to put the long side, so you're going to score 1/2 inch on the long side. And the pocket, you're going to score on 3 sides. So we're going to score the short side, long side, and short side. For the flap, we're going to take score tape and put it on the top, burnish it, and trim the edges. For the pocket, we're going to put score tape on the bottom and on the sides. I'm not going right up to the crisscross of the score line. We're going to burnish. And then I'm going to trim the edges. You'll have to trim 4 times. So you're going to trim up here. Whoops. You're going to trim across the X. So there's a score line there. You're going to trim across the X of the score lines where the 2 score lines intersect. It helps reduce bulk when you're making the album. And then go ahead and fold and burnish. And get used to making these pockets because there's going to be a lot of them as we go further. So first I'm going to put the pocket on the bottom. It really doesn't matter what you do first in this case. And stay as close to the edge of the paper versus as close to the center of the book. Stay close to the edge on the right side of the paper. So there's that. And then the pocket. Again, stay close to the right side and do your best to center it, not to center it. Do your best to put it right up to the edge of the top of the paper. There we go. And again, you could take your corner rounder. I like to do that for flaps. Just think that way you know that it's a flap, it's just not a flat page. Okay, so that is all we need to do for page 3. Now page 4, so besides this being on the top, I'm going to put that there. This has it's got a magnetic clasp, and it's got a flap that goes up, it goes down to the bottom. Flap that goes up, and one that goes to the side, and a pocket on the side flap. Okay, page 4. Top flap will be 6 1/4 by 4 7/8. Side pocket 6 3/4 by 2 1/2. And the side flap 6 1/4 by 4 1/4. So let's take the top flap, and you're just simply going to score at 1/2 inch on the long side. The side flap, you're going to, I'm going to do it this way just to help you understand. On one of the short sides, you're going to score at 1/2 inch. And a pocket, you score on 3 sides. So 1 for the short side, 2 for long side, 3 for the short side. And then we're going to use score tape or red line tape. Top flap we're going to put across the score line. This side flap we're going to put over there. And the side pocket we're going to put on all 3 areas, as we will do for all pockets. Okay, gonna burnish. I'm going to burnish and fold. I'm going to burnish and fold. And then I'm going to trim off the corners. There's the side flap, top pocket, and the side pocket. Okay, then we're going to grab our book, and let me show you again what it is we're doing. Top pocket, side pocket, I'm sorry, side flap, top flap, side flap, side pocket. So top flap, in this case I'm doing the top flap first. Again, stay over as far to the right as you can. There we go. Side flap. Make sure you don't come too close to the top flap when you put on the side flap. Make sure you maintain about a 15/16 of an inch where that fold is. And then the side pocket, oh, I didn't fold this, so let me fold it real quick in burnish. And take off the adhesive backing. And this will go. Now stay away from the fold. And line it up with the bottom. And there we go. All right, that was page 4. Now page 5. It's going to be sort of this double window kind of page. It's very simple, but it's very effective. And then I have a piece of string in this library style closure. So for page 5, you're going to cut 2 pieces that are 3 5/8 by 4 1/4. With the 4 1/4 inch side, with the 3 5/8 to the top, you're going to score on the 4 1/4 inch side at 1/2 inch on both of them. So the long side for both of them. And then we're going to adhere score tape. Onto both flaps. Burnish and fold, burnish and fold, and let's trim off the excess. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that I've got it lined up next to the fold of the page and line it up at the bottom and adhere it, and the same for this one. You're going to make sure that the bottom of the page is lined up and the side. And there we go. Burnish, and then you've got that. And that is basically how we make the book. Now we're going to decorate it. Oh, one more thing. So you're going to need more pockets. So when you decorate it, you're going to cut the 6 by 6 piece of paper 4 by 6, so the long way, and then you're going to have a 2 by 6 inch piece left. So what I did is on the back of the pages, I put a pocket, and that utilizes that 2 inch strip of paper. So there was already a pocket that we had done on page 3. So use the measurements of that pocket, make 5 more of them, and they're going to go on the backs of all of those pages. And again, that utilizes. So that's the tutorial on how I made the mini album using a Red Christmas, the 6 by 6 paper pad from Scrapping for Less. I want to thank Teresa for letting me use that gorgeous paper, and I hope you're able to follow along with this tutorial, and we'd love to see what you make. Go ahead and join in on the Scrapping for Less Facebook group and show us everything you made. It really is a simple mini album to make, and if you get the die cuts that are available or just the paper, I'm sure you'll be able to do something fabulous. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and have a fabulous day.